Have you ever looked across the room at your husband, your wife, and quietly asked yourself, why them? Out of all the people walking this earth, out of all the souls you could have crossed paths with, why did life bring you to this one person, and keep you there, year after year? Maybe your story began with butterflies, a glance that felt like destiny, a conversation that lasted till midnight. Or maybe it began quietly, practically, without fireworks, and grew slowly into something you never expected to need so much. And maybe now, some nights, you lie beside them and feel a strange, unspoken distance, as if two familiar strangers are sharing the same silence. You love them, and yet some days you wonder if you truly understand them. You've built a life together, and yet a small part of you still asks, is this the right person? Why do we keep circling the same arguments, the same misunderstandings, the same small wounds? But what if none of this is an accident? What if the very person who brings you your deepest comfort, and sometimes your deepest pain, was never chosen by chance at all? What if something older than this lifetime, something wiser than your mind, quietly chose this soul for you, long before you ever met? Today, we are not going to look at marriage the way the world looks at it. We are going to look at it the way the soul looks at it. And by the end, you may never see the person beside you the same way again. Many people carry a quiet ache they never speak of, not even to their closest friends. They lie beside their husband or wife each night, sharing the same bed, the same home, the same years, and yet somewhere inside, they feel a strange and unexplainable distance, as if two familiar strangers are simply passing through life side by side. They smile through the day, they manage the household, they raise the children, they show up at family gatherings together, and from the outside, everything looks complete. But quietly, in private moments, a question rises again and again. Did I marry the wrong person? Why does this person, who I chose with so much hope, now feel so far away some days? Why do we hurt each other in the very same way, again and again, no matter how many times we promise it will be different? This is the hidden problem beneath so many marriages. It is not simply that marriage is difficult, because everyone expects some difficulty. The real ache is deeper than that. It is the quiet confusion of not understanding why your heart was drawn to this particular soul in the first place, and why the same lessons, the same wounds, the same disagreements, seem to return like an old song that never stops playing. You forgive, and the same hurt returns in a new shape. You grow, and yet somehow you find yourself standing in the same argument once more. And so you begin to wonder if you are truly growing together, or simply moving in slow, tired circles. But please hear this gently, dear friend, this confusion is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that something deep and sacred within your relationship is quietly waiting to be understood. From a spiritual view, marriage is never simply two bodies agreeing to share a house, a name, a routine. It is two souls, meeting again, who quietly agreed, long before this lifetime even began, to walk together and help each other grow into something more whole. Yogananda often reminded seekers that the soul does not come into this world merely to be comfortable, admired, or entertained. It comes to be purified, gently, patiently, like gold refined in fire. And nothing polishes the soul faster, nothing reveals the heart more honestly, than the closeness of marriage, where there is no mask left to hide behind. From a psychological view, this becomes even clearer. We are naturally drawn to partners who mirror our unhealed wounds, not as punishment, but as invitation. If you grew up feeling unseen by a parent, you may find yourself married to someone who, in certain moments, makes you feel unseen again, not to harm you, but to finally give you the chance to heal that old ache, this time with awareness instead of running away. If you grew up fearing abandonment, you may find a partner whose distance awakens that same fear, so that you may finally learn to feel safe from within, rather than depending only on another person's presence. Spiritually, this goes even deeper still. The soul, in its quiet wisdom, does not choose the easiest partner, the most comfortable one, the one who asks nothing of you. It chooses the most necessary one, the one who will show you, clearly and honestly, exactly where your heart remains closed, afraid, or still learning what it means to love without condition. So when marriage feels difficult, it is not proof that you chose wrong. Very often, dear friend, it is proof that your soul chose exactly right. In the yogic understanding, no soul meets another by accident, and no bond as deep as marriage forms simply by chance encounter. Every close connection carries within it the weight of past understanding, whether it began earlier in this very life, or, as Yogananda often taught, whether it was carried forward quietly across many lifetimes, waiting patiently to be completed. Karma, in this light, is not punishment, and it is not some cosmic scorekeeping. Karma is simply unfinished understanding, returning again in a new form, in a new face, in a new home, until it is finally met with love instead of fear, with patience instead of blame. Perhaps, in this very marriage, you are quietly completing something you cannot fully see, a debt of old kindness now being repaid, a lesson in patience you were once unable to learn, a chance to finally forgive what once felt impossible to forgive. Look gently at the patterns that repeat in your relationship, and you will begin to notice something important. Do you always end up feeling abandoned, no matter how much love is given? Do you always feel controlled, even by someone who never intended to control you? Do you always feel unheard, even when words are spoken clearly? These patterns are not random accidents of bad luck. They are the soul's own curriculum, returning gently, again and again, quietly asking the same question each time. Will you respond differently now? Will you meet this old wound with new awareness? Destiny may have brought the two of you together, seated you across from each other at life's table, but growth, dear friend, growth is never automatic. Growth is a choice, made new again every single day, in every small moment of patience, forgiveness, and understanding you offer to the one beside you. Let us look gently at how this hidden truth shows up in real, ordinary lives, because these stories are not so different from your own. Meera has been married for 12 years now, to a good man, a kind man, but a distracted one, always buried in work, always somewhere else even when he is sitting right beside her. She feels invisible in his presence, the very same way she once felt invisible to her father as a young girl, never quite enough to hold his full attention. Her marriage is not creating this wound, dear friend, it is simply revealing a wound that was always quietly there, gently asking, at last, to be healed. Then there is Arjun, who was betrayed deeply by someone he trusted long before his marriage began. Now, in his present life, the smallest things awaken that old fear again, a late reply to a message, a quiet mood on his wife's face, a moment of silence that feels, to him, like danger. His wife is not the true problem here. His own unhealed trust is simply being given one final, gentle chance to soften, to learn safety again, this time with someone who has done nothing to deserve his doubt. And then there are couples who seem to argue endlessly over what looks, from the outside, like nothing at all, unwashed dishes, a forgotten errand, a sharp tone over dinner. But underneath these small disagreements often lies one enormous, unspoken question: do you truly see me? Do you truly value me? Am I safe here? If any of these stories feel familiar to your own heart, please know this gently: you are not broken, and your marriage is not failing. You are simply standing exactly where your soul intended you to stand, at the doorway of your own quiet growth. So what do we do, dear friend, once we understand this deeper truth about our marriage? The first and most important shift is this: stop asking why is this happening to me, and instead gently ask, what is this teaching me? This single change in question can transform your entire experience of marriage, because pain, when questioned this way, slowly stops feeling like an enemy and starts becoming a quiet teacher. The second step is to respond to your partner's weakness with the very same patience you hope to receive for your own weakness. Yogananda often taught that love without patience is not yet complete love, it is only love still learning to grow. So when your partner disappoints you, pause before reacting, take one slow breath, and softly ask yourself, how would I wish to be treated in this same moment, if our roles were reversed? The third step is to set aside quiet time each day, even a few minutes, for silence, prayer, or meditation. A calm mind sees clearly, while a restless mind sees only the reflection of its own inner storm. Even 10 peaceful minutes turned inward each morning will gently change how you meet your partner by evening. The fourth step, and perhaps the hardest, is forgiveness, not because your partner always deserves it in that exact moment, but because your own peace deserves it. Holding onto resentment is like drinking poison yourself while hoping the other person suffers, and it never truly works that way. And the fifth step, dear friend, is simply this: remember always that you cannot force another soul to change. You can only become so full of peace, so full of quiet love, that gentle change begins to happen naturally in the space around you. Here, dear friend, is the deepest truth we have been quietly walking toward this entire time. Your marriage is not simply a relationship you manage day by day, it is a mirror, placed lovingly before you by life itself, so that you may finally see the parts of your own heart that are still waiting, patiently, to grow. The soul you married is not your enemy, and this bond between you was never some careless accident of circumstance. In some quiet way, beyond the reach of ordinary words, both of your souls agreed, long ago, to walk this particular path together, to gently soften each other's hardness, to slowly heal each other's fear, to teach one another, with infinite patience, what love without condition truly means. Yogananda often reminded sincere seekers that God is not found only in silent temples or distant mountains, but very often in the eyes of the one we are asked to love the most deeply, and to love the longest, through every season of joy and every season of difficulty. Perhaps your marriage was never truly asking you to find a perfect partner, free of flaws, free of struggle. Perhaps it has been quietly, patiently, lovingly asking you instead to become a more awakened soul, one small act of patience, one quiet forgiveness, one gentle understanding at a time. And when you begin to see your marriage through this deeper lens, everything changes, not because your partner suddenly becomes perfect, but because your own heart finally begins to see clearly, and clarity, dear friend, is the beginning of true and lasting peace. So tonight, dear friend, when you sit beside your husband, your wife, even after a long and tiring day, try to look at them just a little more gently than before. Let your eyes rest on their face for a moment longer, and quietly ask your own heart, what is my soul learning, through loving this person? You do not need an answer right away. Sometimes the question itself is enough to soften a hardened heart, and to bring a little more patience into an ordinary evening. If these words touched something quiet inside you today, I invite you gently, with no pressure at all, to subscribe to this channel, so that more reflections like this one can find their way to you when you need them most. And if this video stirred a memory, a realization, or even a small shift in how you see your own marriage, please share it with me in the comments below. Tell me, which part of today's message spoke to you the most? Was it the idea of karma bringing you together, or the thought that your partner is truly your soul's mirror? I read every comment, and your reflections often become the seed of future videos. And speaking of that, I would love to know, what would you like us to explore together next? Perhaps healing after betrayal, perhaps finding peace when love feels one-sided, perhaps understanding why certain people keep entering your life again and again. Simply write it in the comments, and your words may guide our very next journey together. If you feel someone in your life needs to hear this message today, gently share this video with them. It may be exactly what their heart has been quietly waiting for. Thank you for walking this path of reflection with me today, dear friend. May your home be filled with patience, and may your heart be filled with peace. Jai Guru Dev.